All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on another edition of our Franchising Your Business webinar series. My name's Tom Dufour. I'm the founder and CEO of Big Sky Franchise Team. And if you're new to us here, this is all part of a live webinar and training series that we host. And we do several of these each month, and we try to bring in people and have topics that are relevant to operating a franchise system or relevant to running a franchise business, or specialists who can come in and maybe give us some practical nuggets, some wisdom to help run your franchise system better. And today's episode is no different. And I'm pleased for us to have with us is Martin O'Keefe. And Martin is a seasoned sales, marketing, and operations executive with decades of experience in multiple industries. And since 2010, he's helped Avion Energy remain among the top 5 companies nationally for energy procurement and efficiency. Avion Energy helps businesses use less and spend less on electricity and natural gas, thereby reducing carbon footprint and supporting corporate sustainability goals. And as he said, you spend less, hopefully helping the pocketbooks of your franchisees out there and supporting them as well. So, and a fun fact, Martin is one of the very few repeat guests we've had. He's been on our show here a couple years back and reached out and said, "Hey, Tom, how's it going?" And I said, "You know what, Martin? Now's as good a time as any for you to come on board to talk about how people can start implementing and using a service like yours to start reducing their utility costs." So with that, I'd love to turn things over to you.
Thank you very much, Tom. It's a pleasure to be back. Good to see you again. And if you'll help me, should I be able to access the screen share button now? It was denied to me a moment ago, so I want to
Oh,
be able to.
yeah. Oh, there we go. Got it. Yep.
All right, there we go. All right, I'll take her away.
All right.
See, let me give me a second here, and there we go. Make sure that there we go. Share. I'm going to take this puppy full screen. And all right, let me get my camera to behave. Stop my video while I do this. There we go. Cool. All right. So again, thanks, Tom, for having me. And just for the viewers sitting in, I'm Avion Energy is based in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm work remotely in Charleston, South Carolina. So it's a pleasure to be on the call today. And I'll tell you a little bit about us. Avion Energy is an energy technology services company. We help businesses manage electricity and natural gas expense, as Tom said, so that they spend less on energy while reducing their carbon emissions and operate more profitably. We create and operate a platform of competition, which identifies the best pricing for electricity and natural gas across all the U.S. states that are deregulated. And we advocate for and implement a host of energy efficiency technologies through strategic partnerships that I'm going to tell you about, all of which drive down electricity usage and save money. So our mantra is energy for the life of your business. We don't just show up to deploy some solution to move on to the next customer. We effectively partner with our customers to manage their energy spend as long as they're using energy, and they always will if they have facilities. So what I want to accomplish today is on the next screen, hang on a second, just help put some things out there to help hopefully think about helping franchise owners better manage energy related expenses, learn about groundbreaking energy saving technologies, using energy saving technology to strengthen your franchisee relationships or your relationship with your customers, finding best pricing on electricity and natural gas, and discover best practices for implementing energy efficiency measures. There's really cool things I'm going to talk about there. And then going net zero. The solutions that we're talking about, if they involve investment, it's not on the part of the end user customer. There's no capex or debt required. And a net zero monthly expense strategy, basically meaning that any expense that does incur in putting a solution in place is offset or more than offset by the reduction in the customer's electricity bill. That's a good thing. So we serve a nationwide footprint, and we specialize in multi-location
Hey,
businesses.
Martin,
Uh,
sorry to interrupt here real quick. Your screen that I'm seeing here is just your opening slide. So I
is that
don't know
right?
if you did the share screen or the uh,
I did. Yeah, I'm sharing the screen. It's moving for me.
it is not moving on my end here. So I'm still on your very first slide that's showing
Wow.
up. So I don't know if you have it. Sometimes it's a dual screen. If you have two screens, sometimes
Let
that
me.
is an issue.
Yeah. Hmm. Video. I'm sharing the screen. You're seeing what I'm seeing. Screen. I'm not sure if there's a
Oh,
dual
there we
screen.
go. Now it clicked to the next screen. I just saw now it says energy for your life and business.
Yeah, energy for the life of your business. Yeah.
Yep, that's what I see now.
Hmm. Okay. Maybe let me go back to the full screen. Maybe that's the problem because it went back to the original slide. You
Yeah,
see the
same thing just happened here. Yep.
so now I've advanced to the energy to the second slide. Is that popping up for you yet?
It is not.
Okay.
Nope.
So maybe what I'll do here.
Maybe share your whole desktop. I don't know if you just shared an app, but sometimes if you share the whole screen, so that way then if this pops up, because if you just select
That's that,
PowerPoint, I don't know.
that's what I was doing,
Oh,
sharing the whole screen. Now I'm I have the panel of all my screens on the left hand side. I assume you can come back and edit this part out later on. We're figuring out the logistics. So are you seeing the second slide?
I see energy for the life of your
Yeah.
business
Okay.
right now.
Okay. Let me
Yep.
just practice to the next one. Does that
Yep,
change?
we're good. Yeah, I
Okay.
see the map here of the US.
Okay. So the whole problem was when I went full screen, it's not working properly for some reason. So I'll just
Yep,
keep it on this screen.
perfect.
Very good. All right. So anyway, I went through the bullet points here for energy for the life of your business. Um, Stepping into our nationwide footprint, we serve a nationwide footprint. We specialize in multi-location businesses, whether regional or national in scope. We've always recognized the value of our services to franchise owners with a dispersed footprint of physical locations. Our core service is commercial energy brokering, but let me tell you a little bit about how that came about. Beginning back in the 1990s, there was a national trend where states' general assemblies were passing laws that deregulated the retail electricity and natural gas business, meaning energy marketers could come in and compete with the local utility for the price of those commodities. So we partnered with over 80 of these marketers or energy suppliers to bring robust choice to our customers. The key point is for businesses, energy is complicated because there's so much to know in order to manage it well, and there's no national template that fits everywhere. There's a federal agency that governs the grid, but energy at the retail level for both residential and commercial is regulated by the states and empowered by their public service commissions. Uh, the industry moved along, but in the 1990s, if you were around back at that time, you might remember a company by the name of Enron. They were in this business, but it turns out they had developed a Ponzi scheme built around deregulation. So the whole sort of initiative lost steam because the senators and congressmen got involved. So anyway, since that time, it's really stayed the same. 26 of the U.S. states are currently deregulated for electricity and or natural gas. Among those states, there's 215 different investor-owned utilities. Each public service commission sets its own rules and tells the utility what to do and decides which competitors are allowed to compete in those markets. On top of that, utility bills are hard to read and understand. So we built our platform of competition for best electricity and natural gas pricing so businesses could avoid all this confusion. So we entered the business in 2010. We saw that the competitors that were out there were only bringing a couple of options to customers. There might be 20 suppliers competing in a state, but our competitors were like bringing one or two prices to the customer saying, guess what? This is the best price. We saw that and said, well, how would a business actually know whether that's the best price or not? So we saw the opportunity in being able to go out and forming channel partner relationships with many suppliers so that we could actually demonstrate to the customers what the best price was by putting them side by side. And when you do that, you see that there's greater than 25% spread between the highest and lowest bid. That can amount to a lot of money to a business. So we decided to leapfrog that model and bring all the prices to the attention that are available to the attention of each business. And I'm switching to slide. Are you seeing the next slide now, Tom?
I sure am. Yep.
Just making sure. Okay. So this, translates into an apples to apples pricing comparison. This is a generic example, which you may not be able to see very much, but it shows the 25% spread between a high and low pricing presentation that we prepare. We put all the prices side by side to the competitors. So full disclosure, there's an average of 6 bidders per RFP, and the incumbent supplier, whoever's currently providing electricity or gas to the business, gets a last look. So that's sort of how we maintain peace on the reservation, so to speak. If we don't want to ruin the relationship between an existing business and their customer, but if they don't have the lowest price, the customer is open to select a different supplier. We also look for all the gotchas in energy supply contracts. That's one of the most valuable things we do for businesses. For example, a lot of energy suppliers, if you don't let them get away with it, will put automatic rollover terms so that it extends the term of the contract, the term length of the contract while the contract is in the middle of its execution. So no one's paying attention to it, and all of a sudden you find out the contract is rolled over and you're locked into a price for a long time. So in our business model, we follow the broker model, which is bringing the best of class solutions to our end user customers, in this case, franchise owners. Part of my job is identifying and maintaining a high quality energy decisions, based on our customers' needs and who best matches them. So we vetted them in a way that's more difficult for franchise owners to do, even if they want to focus on energy spend. A lot of times franchise owners don't have the resources to survey the field of options available. So we do that for them at no cost to them. And so for energy efficiency projects as well, we focus on the net zero solutions I mentioned earlier. I'll talk about that in a little bit later, but we're able to zero out any cost that it takes to put in an energy efficiency measure. I like to point out that the main differentiating feature between us and other brokers is our technology platform. You can't do this manually with all the utilities and energy suppliers and state public utility commission rules. You just have to be automated to do this efficiently. So if you're a franchisee, pardon me, that's an important thing to know before you pick someone to represent you to the energy suppliers. The best part is our customers don't have to pay for the service. So just like in a real estate transaction, the seller, which is the energy supplier or marketer, pays us a broker fee, so the service costs the end user customer nothing. Really a win-win-win situation. The energy suppliers get opportunities to compete for customers they would otherwise miss out on, and the customer saves valuable staff time. And while we manage an expense item at no cost to them, we earn a broker fee for whoever wins while maintaining loyalty to the customer. We don't advocate for any particular supplier, so we're agnostic in that sense. Today we serve franchisees for brands like Zaxby's and Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. Earlier this year, we were honored and selected to be the preferred provider of energy services by Restaurant Supply Chain Solutions, which is the procurement co-op subsidiary of Yum Brands, which you may know includes all of the Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC, A&W, and Habit Burger franchise owners. So we're all happy and proud about that. We also serve non-quick service restaurant brands like the Cellular Connection, which is the largest Verizon franchisee with over 500 locations nationwide. We serve larger mid-market companies like Uline, which is a packaging and supply chain logistics company, and Gateway Services, which is a consolidator in the animal care business. Geodis, a transportation logistics company. So a broad array of industry verticals, assisted living centers, convenience stores. There's really no business we can't serve because all businesses with physical locations use energy. So that's why we like this business. And we're proud, last but not least, we're proud that since 2021, and again now in 2024, we've been recognized by Energy Tech Magazine as being the top 10 energy procurement company in the United States. I'm moving now on to our next slide. Tom, are you seeing that with the pie charts in there?
Sure am. Yep.
Excellent. Great. I'd like to point out to another one of our mantras that I mentioned earlier, a quote from the U.S. Department of Energy, which is included in the top part of this slide. Each dollar saved in electricity is equivalent to increasing sales by $18. Now, this equivalency is, of course, different for every business. For a simple example, let's say you're making $10 net profit on $100 of sales. In other words, a 10% net profit margin. When you're able to cut a fixed overhead cost like electricity and natural gas, trimming $10 from those expenses has the same effect on your net profit. $10 is $10. So it follows that it only takes $10 of reducing a recurring monthly expense to equate to $100 of sales. That's something important for business owners to think about. That's also because we don't charge our customers for finding the best pricing. Our platform of competition helps our customers select the preferred vendor, in this case, an energy supplier, and the company pays for it. And with the energy efficiency solutions I'll be talking about here shortly, the expense for our solutions is guaranteed by an offset or reduction in the customer's power bills. I did a quick survey of what, in the franchising industry, what places like FranchiseWire and franchise.org and the International Franchising Association say about this topic. I won't read all this stuff, but franchise owners are very aware of the pressure on the expense side of their business. Energy ranks pretty high amongst those fixed costs, and as our 15 years plus of experience shows, we can always do it better than the business can do it themselves. They just aren't in the business day in and day out like we are. Part of why I'm here today and why we like Big Sky's focus on helping franchisees operate their businesses more efficiently. Expense control is essential in growing and expanding through franchising or any business. But it's not as sexy as creating the next food concept or opening a new location or running really great promotions to boost top line revenue. So our customers are very open to our help with with energy spend. And I think we're a good fit for what you see at Blue Sky's website when you go there. Continuous improvement, helping franchise owners be their best, connection with vendors and suppliers. We do all that stuff. So that's our core business. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of franchisees of various business brands using our service to find the best price for electricity and natural gas. We've added a stable of other energy-related value propositions over the years. So I'll move on to that next. Excuse me for a moment. I'll take a sip of water. On to the next slide, Tom. So next, I want to point to our energy efficiency solutions capabilities, each centered on helping our customers use less electricity and natural gas and spend less per kilowatt hour or less per therm on that commodity. And how recently developed technologies are enabling even small businesses to make and store their own electricity as a hedge against grid failure and utility companies' time of usage pricing policies. We've always known that because deregulation doesn't exist in many states, then many of our customers' locations can't be helped by our best pricing platform for electricity and natural gas. So, for example, one of our Zaxby's chicken franchisees has 6 locations in Georgia where only natural gas is deregulated, but they have 50 locations overall. So the rest are in non-deregulated states. So we couldn't help them in those other 44 locations. And we couldn't do anything to affect their electricity bills until we started adding some of these solutions that I'm about to talk about. So there's a lot of media chatter these days about climate change and sustainability and reducing carbon footprint and net zero, saving the planet, all these handles that are put on it. Whatever you call it, a lot of it comes down to window dressing, not legitimate efforts. We see a big difference between companies trading, for example, in energy credits, which are translated into carbon reduction metrics, because some business somewhere supposedly convinces a landowner in Brazil not to harvest their trees. There's a big difference between that and what we do, which is deploying technology directly at the local business location that directly and significantly reduces our customers' electricity usage and the monthly electric bill. That's what we do. So most businesses don't have a lot of time or resources to actually do anything about energy efficiency. At the same time, we know that lots of smaller businesses want to contribute to energy efficiency and environmental sustainability. It's a good societal goal, and our customers like it too, but you need to point to concrete actions to have results in the real world. And that's what we help customers do, kind of take it from the aspirational to the operational. I think what's going on today, I think everybody's probably heard about this. The demand for electricity in this country is exploding. Electrification of the vehicle fleet, both you know um, consumer and commercial, and the power needs for these data centers and other infrastructure that are supporting artificial intelligence are combining with normal growth inputs to dramatically increase the strain on utilities to provide power. This issue is growing in intensity, and the future will require more of every source that we're already using. In the short run, we're already seeing regular brownouts and blackouts around the country as utilities are trying to manage it in this especially hot summer. And I'm seeing recent electricity bills in California, for example, that actually inform customers about upcoming scheduled blackouts. They have blackout schedules in that state. That's starting to happen in Texas too. So part of the backdrop to this next section on energy efficiency is about the electric grid and the increasing likelihood of electric outages and brownouts and things. Energy industry insiders, lots of publications like Wall Street Journal and The Economist and others are warning of coming outages on a regular basis. They already have regular scheduled blackouts in California, as I said, and you know you may remember back in 2021 the Texas freeze that took place. That was in the winter, not the summer, but just shows how fragile the grid can be. So what we've done is focus on a number of value propositions. And the first one I'm showing you here is energy efficiency as a service. The opportunity is that businesses want to improve energy efficiency because it saves money and improves the comfort in their facilities and the appearance and their sustainability profile. The problem, as I've said, is it often requires capital investment, and in addition to monthly operating expense, plus time and expertise that they don't have to put into it to develop and implement energy efficiency projects. So, our solution is we've added partners. That's part of my job, is to find these partners that make money by mining the electricity consumption for savings in the areas of lighting and refrigeration, HVAC, and other electrical systems. The customer can pay for it if they want to, but our partners will front the cost, generating a monthly payment that is zeroed out by the savings from reduced electricity usage. So a complete energy efficiency upgrade without any capital debt or risk is possible now for businesses. That typically results in a 15 to 30% reduction in electricity usage on lighting upgrades and improvements to HVAC systems and improvements to machines and other appliances that draw electricity in businesses. We make the investment for you, so there's a zero out-of-pocket or upfront expenditure. It doesn't affect businesses' debt ratios or lines of credit or conflict with any of their core purchases. And these investments cover all equipment, installation, maintenance, and servicing. Everything's included. So we were really able to allay customers' concerns about how to afford these much needed energy efficiency solutions by eliminating the need to invest or having to postpone a decision until they can find the money in the budget. And by the way, since this applies to a lot of businesses, in landlord tenant situations, that doesn't present a problem. That's just the benefits are shared between the landlord and the tenant. So it's a very routine thing for us to work with both parties in an energy efficiency program. Subway sandwich shops is a good example of someone who does that. So these technology improvements or investments can amount to tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital expense to the franchise owner. So, we know that that's money that's best kept in their own bank account or directed to better purposes. Another thing that we focus on, another value proposition, is energy resiliency as a service, also known, you may have heard the term microgrid technology. Basically means that any location, any business location can be energy self-sufficient. That often blows the mind of people hearing it for the first time, but energy resiliency as a service means businesses and your customers anywhere across the country have an option to protect their revenue streams from increasingly likely electric grid outages this summer and beyond. It includes backup power generation technology, along with options for solar panel and battery storage technology to enable electricity demand shifting, meaning customers can use automation to switch their own stored electricity supply, switch to it during peak usage times and avoid the highest electricity prices. So here's how it works. The system uses photovoltaic panels that harvest energy on sunny days to run the business and store excess of energy in the system's batteries during periods when the power is delivered from the utility. And then at nighttime, when energy costs are cheaper, the system pulls power from the electric grid and stores it in the battery so that it can be used during peak periods to lower energy costs. The intelligent system captures energy data and decides when it's advantageous to shift from the traditional grid to your microgrid. In addition, there's a natural gas backup power generator located at the location but away from the facility, which is only activated when the traditional grid experiences an outage. So it's a multifaceted technology. It works to give businesses more energy security and help them hedge against the rising cost of power. Large retailers and other businesses have been using these systems for a long time. So energy resilience as a service is really a model that's designed for small and medium-sized businesses too. So it's a real win for franchise operators because those are almost always small businesses. I'll use a restaurant example. In an outage scenario, an operator might have to lock the freezers and purchase dry ice in order to keep their inventory cold and decide if they need to shut down the restaurant when high winds, damage power lines or the heat wave puts too much stress on the existing grid. So running a restaurant is already complex, and same for any business. So this is the layer of complexity we're hoping to remove for them. So energy costs can jump by 70% in the summer, and that's money any business would rather reinvest in their employees and the growth of their business. Unexpected power outages are problematic in lots of ways, and they create uncertainty among customers and cause waste. So this microgrid will provide some independence from utility and grid energy supply. One of our customers reminded me last week that if he says if we can help a business to stay open when other businesses are closed during an emergency and homes are without power, it helps us become the safe haven where residents can go get food and community during a stressful time. Finally, we have a host of what we call OEM solutions, original equipment manufacturer solutions. These include, I won't go into the deep detail, but thermal energy storage is technology that works the same as ice inside a cooler. It's set to a specific temperature, and it usually is in the form factor of drop ceiling tiles or plastic light sheets that line the inside along with the existing insulation. It absorbs heat when it melts, and it releases heat when it's freezing. It doesn't actually melt or freeze. The great thing about it is that when it's manufactured, it can be set to a specific temperature. So when it reaches that temperature, it effectively heats or freezes, then storing or releasing heat, and that greatly reduces the amount of time that your HVAC system has to run to keep the desired temperature inside. Other technologies, voltage optimization. Most businesses don't realize that utilities routinely send too much voltage from the power line over to the business. And unless you have a transformer or a special device on your site behind your electrical panel, you're getting more electricity than you need, and you're getting overbilled for it. And it also puts additional strain on everything in your business that's connected to it, every appliance. So this technology steps that over voltage down, and there's a direct reduction in your electricity bill. There's also smart compressor control software that improves the efficiency of motors. That gets down into the tall weeds, but all of these things have significant percentage reduction effects on electricity usage. So that brings my PowerPoint presentation to a conclusion. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to my camera and see if there's any questions.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Very, very interesting presentation here. So a question I have is for let's say there's a franchisor that is let's say there's a franchisor that's interested in having you come into their system. I understand working with an individual franchisee. How would you work with a franchise system coming from the franchisor working through the network? How does that work?
That's a great question. They have similar interests, but then again different, because the local franchisee is running the business day to day, month to month, and they're paying the electricity bill. Electric is very local that way, and it's usually not a strategic thing. They don't look at it strategically at the franchisor level. But what they do look at, and this, I mentioned Yum Brands and all their sub brand names. All of those companies, like most companies, if you go to their websites, they all tout their energy efficiency and sustainability bona fides. They brag about it. But when you look behind the cover, behind the curtain, so to speak, you find out they don't really have a lot that they can do other than set, overly optimistic goals sometimes, like we're going to reduce our carbon footprint by X% by 2035. But how do they do that? They don't have any impact at the local level. So, but they can certainly have an impact by encouraging our services and partnering with us to support the franchisees. I mean, that's how we worked out what we worked out with Restaurant Supply Chain Solutions. That's why they exist, is to help all the franchisees and the Yum Brands under the Yum Brands umbrella to take advantage of things they would otherwise not know about.
I see. And is there a typical savings that you might see from an average for a typical customer, or what kind of return or financial change does this generally make it for some of your customers you work with?
I said during the presentation, most of these solutions, well, it's a broad range. They're going to have an impact of 15 to 30% or more reduction in the amount of electricity that the HVAC system or the lighting or the draw that appliances use on electricity. It'll reduce that amount. Of course, that doesn't formulate 100% of the utility bill, but
Sure.
you'll see 5 to 15% reduction off an electricity bill.
Okay.
And it's a relatively big bill. It's not as big as the employee costs for most businesses, but it's a big bill.
Sure.
And it's a substantial cost over the course of a year. And
Yep.
so we help them save that money. And as I keep emphasizing in the presentation, they don't have to come out of pocket to access it.
Yeah.
That's
No.
where
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the gap in knowledge happens.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I think that's one of the really interesting things is even on even if it's a small to modest reduction in fee structure, uh, annualized, that makes a difference. And there's really not a whole lot the owner would have to do to realize the cost savings.
Right.
So I think it's substantial.
Well, we talk to lots of franchisees. That's where we do a lot of our business. And they a lot of times have a facilities manager who
Hmm.
is who is over a vast amount of things. I mean, and energy is not the main one, but they are very aware of it.
Yep.
And so they're highly appreciative of knowing about these things. But what we do is we kind of combine the energy brokering piece with the energy efficiency piece. And we say on your question was about energy efficiency, but on the supply side, just brokering supply and making sure they're not overpaying for the electrons of electricity and the molecules of natural gas
Yep.
adds to the savings.
Yep.
So we look at the whole portfolio of businesses I mentioned. Some of them will have opportunities in deregulated utilities, others won't. So we kind of holistically manage that for them. So
Sure.
when you can help someone do their job better, um, that's a big bonus in addition to the money savings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, great. Well, Martin, I don't see any questions coming through. I guess we can open this up, see if there are any questions from our attendees. But I guess as we bring this to a close here, how can someone get in touch with you, schedule some time, figure out, if this might be a good move for their business?
Yeah, my favorite question. Yeah, it's easy to remember. My email is martin at Avion Energy, AVION energy.com, martin@avionenergy.com. And since you're recording this, I'll leave the number at 678-607-6852. And would be happy to talk to anybody in the business who, even if they're not owning a franchise, they may know somebody who does, who would benefit from this. And certainly anyone who's a franchisor who
Hmm.
is trying to get their head around the sustainability thing. A lot of folks in those companies that have sustainability in their title that are looking for ways to do a better job at it.
Sure. Wonderful. Well, this has been a fantastic interview. I really appreciate it. And to our attendees here, thank you so much. Everyone, I hope you have a great weekend. Martin, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Tom. Have a great weekend.
Okay, take care.
I know.